Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of the Kick, a Runner's Podcast. I'm your host, Will Loggia. I love running and I love a good kick. Today is the Women's Day for the BU Valentine Invitational. Yesterday was a huge success with our live watch party for the men's races, so we're back here today for the women. Really excited. The elite window of the women's races has just begun. The 800s are off and running, and really excited to watch with all of you. Please participate in the live chat. We've got this going and we are excited. Let me know who you're rooting for today, who your predictions to win are. We've got some great races coming up here. Very exciting stuff. Welcome in, everybody, as you come in. Super excited to be live again here for the Women's Day at the BU Valentine Invitational 2026. Some great elite races on deck here. What are your predictions? Who are you excited to see? Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, we're just getting started here. It's going to be an electric meet day. I'm just posting now live that we're going live here on social media so more people can find out about it. Please, if you're friends also love track and field and aren't at the BU meet in person, aren't able to watch on the paid subscription that you would have to pay to actually watch the races, tell them to come here. It's the next best thing, and we're going to have a great time. Nobody's more passionate about Boston University track and field than I am. I ran for 5 years as a student athlete at BU, and I'm really excited to be able to be tuning in this way because I do miss being there in person. This is the first time in 6 years that I haven't been at the meet as a student athlete representing the Terriers. All right, just gonna get this post up here. Social media, letting everybody know that we are live. It's a little bit of multitasking here. This is the first weekend that I've ever done live streams here with the Kick, so appreciate everybody for your patience and your support. Having a great time. Yesterday, again, was a massive success for our first live event here on the Kick. We had 75 live chat comments, and I think we can beat that today with 100. The Kick is live for the Women's Day at the Boston University Valentine Invite. Boom. Posting this on socials now so we'll get some more viewers. Again, if you are here, please leave a live chat comment. Let your friends know about the stream. We've got the 800s going now at the BU Valentine Invite, and we are going to be commentating shortly. If you're just joining us, leave a comment in the live chat if you are able. Would love to hear from you. Really excited to be here commentating day 2 of the BU Valentine Invite. How's everybody doing out there today? Ready for some track and field action? The fastest track in the world at BU. What are your predictions? Who are you rooting for? Again, just posting on socials now that we are live. All right, everybody, as we join, feel free to leave a comment in the live chat. We're about to start commentating in just about 30 seconds here. All right, everybody, we are going to start commentating now. Shared across socials, mostly on Instagram, that we are live. Let me know, can you hear me? Is the sound good? And are you ready to roll? How's everybody doing out there? Feel free to leave a comment in the live chat. Would love to hear from you. Women's 800s are underway here in the elite section of the women's meet here at the BU Valentine Invitational. That first heat was won by Megan Hunter, the only woman to go sub 2 thus far. Great race, great field there with Victoria Basong, Michaela Rose. Lots of great athletes. We're up to section 4 out of 5 in the women's 800. All right, let's get this party started. Section 5 of this women's 800 promises some pretty cool battles that we'll get into in a moment. But right now we've got a leader from Rhode Island here in section 4 out of 5 of the women's 800. Great meet yesterday for the Rhode Island team. They had the winner or not the winner, but they had the school record set in the mile. Nick Martin breaking 4 minutes. And the Rhode Island athlete is going to win here. Section 4 of 5 of the women's 800 elite field. She runs 204.5. That's Lily Saul. Congrats to Lily. Do we have Ben Fleischer here tuned in live? I know. Former Rhode Island legend. We had him here as a guest on the podcast. Ben's got to be really excited right now. Rhode Island representing. Go Rams. All right. We're about to get into Heat 5 of the women's 800 here, and we have got a very interesting storyline developing. We've got my old teammate, Olivia Dodds, representing BU here, phenomenal mid-distance runner, and she's taking the line against her sister, who runs for Indiana, Amelia Dodds. I don't know that they've ever raced each other in college. I'm sure there must have been a time when they raced each other in high school before that, but what a special moment here for the Dodds sisters. Definitely going to be focused on that battle, that sibling rivalry, as well as all the other competitors here in Heat 5 of the women's 800 here at the BU Valentine Invite. Now this fifth and final section is scheduled to go through right around 60 seconds, I think, for the first 400. All right, we are off here. Section 5 out of 5 in the women's 800 here of the elite section of the BU Valentine Invite. We've got a battle of siblings here with Olivia Dodds and Amelia Dodds, both in the same race. I think this is the first time that's ever been the case in their collegiate careers. Olivia Dodds representing the home team, Boston University Terriers. Her sister representing the Indiana Hoosiers. That's Amelia Dodds. The Dodds sisters, a phenomenal mid-distance duo. Olivia Dodds, one of the most talented middle distance runners at Boston University. Had a breakout season her junior year, running PRs in the 800 meter that really took things up a notch. But we are going to have a leader from BYU here. All right, we're going into the final lap here of the final section of the women's 800 in the elite section. The Dodds sisters are racing each other. We've got Olivia Dodds of the home team, and we've got Amelia Dodds of Indiana in the same race. Pretty special moment for these sisters. Looks like Olivia has the lead right now, but Amelia is following right behind her. Olivia Dodds and Amelia Dodds finishing almost at the same time. It looks like Olivia might have had her at the line. You know, the older sister representing her home school, Terriers, here at the BU track. Had to show her sister how it's done. Olivia Dodds will run 207.9, followed closely by her sister Amelia and 208.3. Pretty special moment for those sisters. And really cool to see that go down. I'm sure that is a race they will remember forever. And shortly we are going to start getting to the longer events, and some really elite athletes are going to be taking on the fastest track in the world here at BU. So to recap that 800 overall, out of all 5 heats, Megan Hunter remains the winner, the only athlete to run under 2 minutes in this edition of the BU Valentine Invite. Going to have a little bit of a gap here between the 800s and the mile. We're going to have the mile, 3K and 5K. Absolutely going to promise something special, so stay tuned in and invite any runner friends you have to hop into this watch party. We are going to provide next level energy. I'm telling you, nobody gets more hyped about BU track than me, former student athlete for BU. I absolutely love it. And if you're not able to, be there in person, or you're not able to or want to pay the subscription you have to actually watch the races live, that's what I'm here for. Commentating. You could even turn me on another device and have me commentate if that's what you prefer. I'd be flattered. But yeah, this is where you want to be to hear some high energy live commentary of the BU Valentine Invite. We are taking a break here between the 800s and miles, or the mile. So we will see how long this break is, but generally the BU indoor track meets keep things moving pretty darn fast. So I wouldn't recommend going anywhere. Maybe just a quick bathroom break, a quick water break. Got to stay hydrated. I've learned after doing a lot of these podcast episodes and even going live now, hydration is super important when you're talking a lot. It's just your mouth gets so dry. So similar to running in that way, I guess. All right, we are in the kind of intermission here between the 800s and the mile, and we've seen a lot of athletes doing strides here on the fastest indoor track in the world. That's all that's going on in the live broadcast right now. But the big one is right around the corner, the women's mile, going to be special. We had a recent entry from one of the fastest runners in the world, Ellie St. Pierre, just recently entered this elite women's mile field. It's going to be something special. You don't want to go anywhere. And of course, we've got the superstar freshman for BYU, Jane Hedegren. She'll be in this field as well. Definitely an athlete to watch. Let's get this live chat going. If you're able to, leave a comment. Would love to hear from anybody who is watching live. Anything about running, about the kick, and of course about the BU Valentine Invite and the races we've got going down here. Who do you have in the mile here? Who are you rooting for? Who do you think is going to win? They are going to be starting in just a few moments here. We've got one of the most stacked women's mile fields in history here. This is ridiculous. We've got Wilma Nielsen from Oregon, NCAA champ. We've got Jane Hedegren, one of the most talented freshmen in NCAA history. And we've got Ellie St. Pierre, one of the fastest milers in the world. All right, and we are going to get off now. That's the gun to start the race here in the women's mile. Heat 1. This is presumably the fastest heat of 5 here in the elite section. We've got Ellie St. Pierre. We've got Wilma Nielsen. We've got Jane Hedegren, who's actually in dead last right now. Hopefully that is just a strategy from Jane. I'm not sure. Jane is moving up. Well, she's still in last. 1 lap into the women's mile here. Jane Hedegren is in last place. Let's hope that's just a conscious strategy. We've got Ellie St. Pierre at the front with Wilma Nielsen close behind. There is someone in front of them, but that is a pacer. Ellie St. Pierre famously has had 2 kids while still remaining one of the top runners in the world. Pretty impressive story. Wilma Nielsen is right behind Ellie St. Pierre here. So we've got kind of a battle at the front between Ellie St. Pierre and Wilma Nielsen of Oregon. Jane Hedegren is going to have to start moving up, and she is. They are 3 laps in now, and Jane Hedegren has started to move up from the back of the pack. Let's see if she gets in the mix here with Wilma Nielsen and Ellie St. Pierre. Excited to see what they come through. 800 meters in here. It's going to be fast. I know that for sure. All right. Coming up on the 800 meter split. The pacer is off the track now. It looks like they came through in 2:07. They're on pace for 4:15. What are your guys' predictions for the winning time in the women's mile here at BU? Who's it going to be? What's it going to be? Ellie St. Pierre leading this thing now. Wilma Nielsen right behind. Will the pro runner Ellie St. Pierre win this thing? Or will Wilma Nielsen, still representing the Oregon Ducks, will she take this and represent the NCAA at the highest level here at the BU Valentine Invitational? 3 laps to go. They came through at 2:43 with 3 laps remaining. It doesn't look like Hedegren is going to be a threat to win this thing. It's really a battle between Ellie St. Pierre and Wilma Nielsen. .400 meters to go. That's 2 laps on the indoor oval. We've got Ellie St. Pierre cranking this thing up. She almost tripped there on the inside rail, but she maintains her stride, and Wilma Nielsen is close behind. Ellie St. Pierre is looking very smooth. Wilma Nielsen hanging in there, staying strong, being tough. She could set an NCAA record here. Coming up on a lap to go, Ellie St. Pierre taking control in the driver's seat. She's at 3:43 high going into the final lap. She's going to win this thing, but the question is, how fast will she run? On pace for something like 4:15. Wilma Nielsen is close behind her. She's not going to catch Ellie, but she could set an NCAA record here. Now Ellie St. Pierre is starting to look tired. Wouldn't blame her. She's running one of the fastest mile paces ever in women's history. She is slowing down. And Ellie St. Pierre will run 4:17. Was that Jane Hedegren coming out of nowhere? And Jane Hedegren passes Wilma Nielsen right at the very end. Jane Hedegren wasn't even in the frame for most of the race. And she just kind of worked her way up from the back of the pack to take second. This is incredible. Ellie St. Pierre, valiant effort, incredible effort. Definitely experienced some fatigue at the end there. What's so impressive to me is how Jane Hedegren worked her way up. You know what? That was the wrong call. It wasn't even Jane Hedegren. I couldn't even see her. It's another BYU athlete. It is not Jane Hedegren. Apologies for the confusion. That was Riley Chamberlain. That's incredible. Riley Chamberlain literally comes out of nowhere to set the collegiate record. If anybody's seeing the live results, I mean, Ellie St. Pierre runs 4:17.8. You know, the pro from New Balance. But the top collegiate runner, Riley Chamberlain, comes out of nowhere. Wilma Nielsen was leading the collegiate battle the entire time. Incredible. So Jane Hedegren was 4th overall and 3rd collegiate runner. She ran 4:22. Really solid run there for her. Like I said, she was in the back for most of the race, but she was able to move up a little bit and run a solid 4:22 for 4th. But Riley Chamberlain setting the collegiate record. That is unbelievable. 4:20.61. Riley Chamberlain. So your top 3 from Heat 1 of the Women's Mile here at the BU Valentine Invite. It was Ellie St. Pierre running 4:17.8. Then we had a crew of collegiate runners. Riley Chamberlain setting the collegiate record in 4:20.61. Representing BYU. I don't know if a lot of people saw that coming. Obviously, Riley, an incredible athlete, but everybody's been talking about Jane. Wilma Nielsen was in 3rd, 2nd collegiate, running 4:21.04. And then 4th place, Jane Hedegren, 4:22.22. What a race, yeah. I mean, that's history right there on the BU track. We call it the fastest indoor track in the world for a reason. Heat 2 is underway here in the Women's Mile. And this is going to be probably the fastest Heat 2 you're ever going to see. Some absolutely incredible athletes here in Heat 2 of the Women's Mile at the BU Valentine Invite. What time will this heat be won in? Who will be the winner? Somebody asks in the comments, do you show the races or no? Thank you for that comment because it's very relevant. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to show the live stream of the races. It's illegal. FlowTrack owns that. But I can watch it myself and live commentate it. Something I've seen done in a lot of other sports with like the NFL, things like that. It's unfortunate. Definitely wish I could have a part of the screen just showing the live stream, but I'll do my best to commentate live and give you the best commentary I can possibly give. follow along on, the live results if you want to as well to go along with this. This is the best we can offer for free. FlowTrack is going to charge you to watch it live, which is totally reasonable given the phenomenal coverage they provide. But we are going to do a live watch party. So, much funnier than you, 67. Thank you for your comment. Yes, so much funnier than you, 67 comments, is Sofia Gorierin running in Heat 2. Yes, she is. She's on the track now. They're 800 meters in. Sofia is kind of towards the back right now, but we'll see if her 800 speed will come into play and she'll be able to start chipping away at this field. Right now on the broadcast, Ellie St. Pierre is being interviewed, so it's kind of hard to see what's going on the track, but it sounds like her interview is about to wrap up and we'll have some more focused coverage on Heat 2 here. And there we go. We are back here. Heat 2 of the women's mile at the BU Valentine Invite. They're running 3 wide here on the track. You got to get on that rail. You don't want to be running extra distance, but, people are trying to make their moves. Sofia Gorierin probably has the most experience of anybody in this field on this track. Ran here a lot in high school and is just down the road at Harvard now. And we are 400 meters to go. .400 meters to go, and it is a Florida athlete in first. Sofia Gorierin moving up. She's making moves. Sofia is in 5th now. And Claire Stiegel from Florida is in the lead going into the bell lap. Stiegel is going to win this thing, but Sofia Gorierin is out in lane 3 right now trying to pass and improve her position from 5th. Don't know if she's going to be able to do it. All these women really kicking hard right now. Sofia not able to get around. It's going to be Stiegel who wins in 4:25. Sofia Gorierin gets through at 4:29-ish. I believe that's Sofia's first sub 4:30 though in the mile. Congrats to her. Fantastic middle distance athlete. Officially, Claire Stiegel runs 4:25.9 to win Heat 2. Sofia Gorierin places 6th. And we'll have her official time shortly, but it was 4:29 mid, I believe. Much funnier than you, 67 in the live chat says, I'm so confused on why she's running the mile instead of the 800. Yeah, I don't know. Sofia's definitely more of an 800 runner, but sometimes at these invites in the middle of the season, it can help to mix things up. It must be a decision by, her and her coach that this experience will help her. Maybe she doesn't want to run, 800s every meet and get sick of it. This could help her, make the 800 feel shorter and easier, perhaps. But breaking 4:30 for the first time, definitely an accomplishment for Sofia Gorierin. And I just want to shout out, much funnier than you, 67 in the live chat is really carrying things for our live chat here in the comments. Really appreciate that. If you're watching, please feel free to leave a comment. We're having a great time here watching the BU women's meet at the Valentine Invitational. All right, we've got a request in the live chat. Can you give commentary on Susie in the next heat? So, absolutely, we will watch out. We will watch out for Susie in Heat 3 here. And it is just getting underway. Susie of Missouri. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. It doesn't even seem like it's that hard of a last name to pronounce, but... So, Heat 3 of the women's mile is underway. One lap in, they're 34 seconds for basically the entire field as things are bunched up here. This heat is paced. They're supposed to be paced at 68 seconds per 400. We'll see how long the pacer stays in here. So we've got somebody in the live chat who is watching out for Susie LeCoutre from Missouri. So we will pay close attention to how she does. Right now, the entire heat is bunched up. People are running out in lane 2. Even 2 athletes are in lane 3 right now. Someone comments, I wonder if Harvard is the right fit for her. To me, she's been really stagnant. I remember when she first entered college and she was pretty hyped. Yeah, I mean, Sophia does seem happy at Harvard. I know she loves being in the Boston area, loves having this BU track to run in so frequently, right at her doorstep. Hopefully she's enjoying herself. Wow, so Finn says that my pronunciation was good on Susie LeCoutre. It's probably not perfect, but I do my best. Susie LeCoutre, the Missouri athlete in this heat. This is section 3 of 5 in the elite section of the women's mile at the BU Valentine Invite. You know, personally, I don't really know. I don't think anybody in this heat, so, I don't know them as a friend. So I will happily root for Susie. It's always fun to have a dog in the fight, as they say. Okay. This heat has been super competitive. We're coming up on 3 laps to go, and nobody is really separated. It's all going to come down to who has something left here in the final 600 meters, and things might start to string out here. All right, coming up on 400 to go. We do have a leader separating. It is not Susie LeCoutre. It is Finch from Great Britain. So I think Finch is a pro athlete here. We are coming up on a lap to go. All right, bell lap here, heat 3 of the women's mile. Here comes Katevi going to pass Finch. Strong kick here. Athlete from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Really strong kick. This athlete has a lot left in the tank, and she is just dropping the field. That's all we can see right now on the broadcast is the winner running 4:31 high. Let's see what Susie LeCoutre comes through in. There's about 6 athletes all coming through at the line here. Well under 4:40. Let's see what the official time is for Susie LeCoutre of Missouri. All right. Looking for Susie here. Hopefully she was in that group of about 6 women who all came through at 4:36. And Susie LeCoutre runs 4:38.9. That was a really tough heat to compete in because all these women were so close together. Navigating that traffic was tough. Hopefully that is a PR for Susie LeCoutre of Missouri. 4:38 is a really strong time. A lot of people say that breaking 4:40 is like the equivalent of man breaking 4 minutes in the mile. I really don't have any opinion on that. I would have to do a lot more research. What do you think in the comments? Do you think that breaking 4:40 as a woman is the equivalent of breaking 4 minutes in the mile as a man? It seems like it's somewhere around there that the equivalent would be, but I really don't have any opinion on it. I know that running under 4:40 is really fast, so congratulations to all those women, including Susie LaCoutre of Missouri, who just hopefully set a PR. And thank you to Finnan Waterfield for chiming in the live chat, supporting their athlete, Susie. And we are going to get started here in Heat 4 of the women's mile at the BU Valentine Invite. This is going to be good. Again, what other meet would you have Heat 4 of the women's mile be this elite? And Heat 4 is out in 33.6 for the first 200 meters here. Let me know in the live chat. Oh, and we've got a fall. Oh, you hate to see that. It was somebody in the back of the pack. It looks like they're getting up. Didn't take anybody else out in that fall, which is good to see. But you hate to see somebody fall. Yeah, I hate to see a fall. Hope she's okay, that athlete. All right, let me know in the live chat. Is there anybody you're rooting for in the remaining heats at BU? Finn in comments, thanks for the commentary. It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for tuning in here. I really appreciate it. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe here on The Kick. We do a lot of podcasts with some of the fastest athletes in the world, as well as some athletes who are more recreational runners. There's really no, minimum for what our athletes that we host here on The Kick bring to the table. It looks like the pacer has now left in this heat of the women's mile at just 600 meters in. We've got a comment from Annalise saying that The Kick is her favorite show. Really appreciate that. We're just getting started here on The Kick. We've got a lot of great episodes out already and a lot more on the way. Leave a comment if there's an athlete that you wish would be on The Kick, and we'll do our best to bring them on the show. How's my Valentine's Day? It is going wonderfully. Spending it watching the BU Valentine Invitational. Not a bad deal, right? Not a bad deal. Fastest track in the world at BU. Great meet that they run here. I know it well. Last 5 years I was a student athlete for the Terriers representing BU at this meet. So had a little bit of FOMO, as the kids say, and needed to tune in and commentate remotely. Leave a comment if there is somebody that you're rooting for in this meet, somebody you would like some extra commentary for, or if there's just somebody that you predict is going to win, set a big PR, and if there's anybody that you'd like to have on The Kick, a runner's podcast, requests are always welcome. All right, we're really getting into this heat here. Section 4 of the women's mile. 400 meters to go. And it is Smith in the lead, followed closely by Bell. And it's these two women who are really pulling away here and leading this heat. Bell of Georgetown looking strong. She's in second. Maggie Smith, though, still looking strong in the lead. Maggie Smith at the bell leads this thing. Will she hold on? What kind of kick does she have? How much does she have left coming through with 1 lap to go at 4:04? And now another runner is moving up from the chase pack. Can she catch Smith? She is gaining. And now Smith has been overtaken. This is going to be close. Winner's going to run under 4:40. Incredible accomplishment. Like I said, that many think that that is the equivalent of guys breaking 4 in the mile. Breaking 4:40 in the mile is super, super impressive. Come from behind victory for Julia, representing Toronto. 4:38 flat for the winner. Agostinelli winning this thing. All right, what are you guys excited for the rest of the meet? We've got, the 3K and 5K promising some of the most stacked fields in track and field. How fast do you think Doris of Alabama will run in that 5K? Will she set the collegiate record? And we are about to get started in the 5th and final section of the women's mile at the Boston University Valentine Invitational. We've got a hometown terrier in this heat, Lily Boren of BU, but I believe she might just be pacing. We'll find out here in a moment. More of an 800 runner. More likely that she is on pacing duties here in this heat of the mile. It would be cool if she was racing, though. Would love to see how my former teammate Lily would fare in this mile. But it looks like she is going to get out to the front here. And I am thinking that she is pacing. Yep, Lily Boren going to be the pace setter here. She is an 800 runner who tends to take things out hot, so we'll see if she's able to keep this pace in check and not run too fast for these ladies here in Heat 5 of the women's mile. Lily Boren coming through 200 in right around 33. And that's technically 209 meters, so pretty fast. Lily taking things out really fast. Lily Boren of BU, she's on pacing duties, and she is running quite fast. What's crazy is that there's an athlete passing her now. Lily Boren has been passed. She's pacing this thing really fast, but a woman is passing her. And they come through 66. I mean, this is a really fast pace. Lily Boren really took this thing out hot, and then I think it's the athlete from Texas Tech who has just decided she wants to take it out even harder. It's a bold move. Lily Boren is in third now. No fault of her own. They are just pushing this thing so fast. I mean, Lily Boren comes through 144 for 600 meters. That is a hot pace. That is fast. Heat 5 of the women's mile here might have multiple women go sub 440 if they're able to keep this up. You know what I say? I say Lily Boren should just finish this thing. She should just race this entire mile, because she's on pace for a really strong time. These women are going to come through 800 meters here at 2:18. Lily steps off the track. Kind of would have liked to see her finish this thing out. 2:18 high to open this mile heat. Hilton from SMU is looking really strong here. It looks like she's going to pass the leader from Texas Tech, who took this thing out really fast. You know, these athletes traveled a long way to get to Boston to run the fastest track in the world. They're excited. They want this thing to be fast. They want a new PR. Hilton of SMU leads with a 2:54 1K split. As we wrap up the mile heats here at the BU Valentine Invite, we are quickly approaching the elite heat of the 3K and 5K. What are your predictions? Will Doris set a new NCAA record in the 5K? So much excitement in these elite fields at BU. Let me know in the comments. Have you subscribed to The Kick? It's free. Would absolutely love it if you could. Really appreciate all the support. Viewership is already almost matching our viewership from yesterday in the men's meet, and we aren't even to the 3Ks and 5Ks. Would love to get some more comments going in the live chat, though. I will respond to all appropriate comments in the live chat. Makes this thing a lot more interactive and fun for all of us. So I'd really appreciate your comments. Final heat of the women's mile here at BU. It is going to be Hilton of SMU. Looking really strong. Hilton of SMU is going to run a really fast time, well under 4:40. Really strong second half of this race for Hilton. 4:36 for Hilton of SMU. Corzo closing strong. A lot of women here. Every woman in that heat well under 4:55. 2 women under 4:40 as we wrap up the women's mile here at the 2026 Valentine Invitational at BU. All right, everybody, we are about to really pick things up here with the 3K and 5K. I'm making sure I'm hydrated so I'm ready to go. We are going to have the most energetic live commentary in the game. Going to have a little bit of a gap here after the women's mile, so this would be a perfect time to engage with some comments in the live chat. Would love to hear from you. Again, I will respond to all appropriate comments. It's a great way to make this thing interactive. Recapping that women's mile, all 5 heats. Ellie St. Pierre, no surprise, takes the win in 4:17. Riley Chamberlain sets a new collegiate record, 4:20.6. It's almost funny, like second place can almost get forgotten about. The camera's following Ellie St. Pierre, but the collegiate record in the mile was set in Heat 1 there. Congrats to Riley Chamberlain. And we are going to have a commercial break now before this 3K and 5K. So now would be a great time. Would love to hear from you if you're watching. Appreciate everybody who has joined in. I wouldn't recommend going anywhere as we have the fast heat of the 3K and 5K for the women coming up here. Super exciting. Who are you excited to see in this 3K and 5K? Anybody in particular? All right, so we are on a commercial break here between the women's mile and the women's 3K and 5K. 3K and 5K are going to be really exciting. I mean, these are those anxious moments before records could go down. Amazing races and battles and competitions on the track are about to go down. Something could happen in one of these races that could change track and field. We could have an NCAA record. We could have national records. World records? I don't know about that. And the 3,000 is going to be getting underway momentarily here as we return to the track. Women's 3K about to get underway here. Who do you have winning? All right, we've got Drew in the live chat commenting. Which heat are you most excited about, Will? I mean, we've got the women's 3K and 5K elite heats coming up here. I tend to be more excited about the 3K just because the distance is a little shorter, a little more exciting tends to be. But the field of the 5K really excites me because you've got Doris of Alabama. I've interviewed her many times. She's a phenomenal athlete, really great person. All right, women's 3K is underway here. And just looking at the entries here, it is ridiculous. It is a who's who of women's distance running. You've got Jane Hedegren back in this one. Is she treating this like a workout? Is she pacing? I'd have to imagine she's pacing after have just running the mile about 15 minutes ago. But Jane Hedegren of BYU is going to lead this thing. That is an indication that she is going to be a pacer. Along with Riley Chamberlain, who just set an NCAA record. She's got to be feeling pretty good. Riley Chamberlain set the NCAA record in the mile earlier today, running 4:20. And I believe the person that she took the NCAA record in the mile from is in this race. Yes, she is. It's Solana Yildiz. Solana Yildiz of Oregon. Really great athlete. I mean, she had the NCAA record in the mile for the longest time up until today, up until less than an hour ago when Riley Chamberlain took that record from her. But could Solana Yildiz be on her way to a collegiate record in the 3K? She definitely could be. She's leading this thing other than the two BYU Pacers in front of her right now. Drew, thanks for your comment in the live chat. Are you excited for anybody in particular? Would love to hear who you're rooting for, who you think's going to win. Will Yildiz set a collegiate record in the 3K? Will she win this race? You know, the funny thing is the BYU athletes, Riley Chamberlain and Jane Hedegren, are pacing this thing, and they've got Solana Yildiz following close behind. It's almost like they're helping Oregon along, you know, to maybe set a collegiate record. But you've also got Jenna Hutchins, I believe, in this race. She's close behind Solana Yildiz, and she's a BYU athlete that's who they really are probably hoping to pace to a great PR. And we are on Division II record watch here in the 3K. As we have a Division II runner in here eyeing that record. So Riley Chamberlain and Jane Hedegren take this race through 1,000 meters in 2:54. How long will they run this thing for? They're already a third of the race in. I'm assuming they are just pacing and will be stepping off the track shortly, maybe at a mile. We shall see. We've got a long line of athletes now, everybody running on the rail. Really starting to string out, though, because the distance between the leader and the person in the back is like 40 meters just because of how much space each person takes up in that line. I think some athletes are going to start getting a little anxious and try to start making moves to improve their position here. But right now, everybody kind of in a groove, looking smooth. That's how these long-distance races usually go. Everybody trying to remain calm, conserve energy. So we've got two BYU athletes who just ran the mile, pacing this thing, probably hoping to lead their teammate Jenna Hutchins to a win and a PR. All right. Chamberlain steps off the track, but Jane Hedegren is staying in this. Will she just race the 3K? Will she just race this thing? I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Jane Hedegren, less than an hour ago, raced a mile. ran 4:22. Do you think that she is going to run the entire 3K here? That would be hard to imagine. But she's the type of runner that I could see doing it. And she's coming through the mile now. And she has no plans of stopping. Jane Hedegren leading this women's 3K. 4:39 through the first mile. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that Jane Hedegren stays in this, but I would not blame her at all for stepping off the track. So we've got three of the top names in the NCAA right now. Jane Hedegren, Solana Yildiz, and Jenna Hutchins. Two of those athletes, BYU, Solana Yildiz, Oregon. Two of the best programs in track and field. Solana Yildiz recently just lost her NCAA record in the mile. Less than an hour ago, it was taken down. Is she running with a little bit of a chip on her shoulder to try to win this 3K? Assert her dominance? Jenna Hutchins still in the mix. This is going to be an exciting finish, everybody. Would love to hear what you think in the live chat. Who do you think's going to win? Who are you rooting for? What's going to happen here? 5 laps to go. Jane Hedegren is still in this race. I think Jane Hedegren might finish this 3K less than an hour after running the mile. She ran a 4:22 in the mile less than an hour ago. Now she is pacing this 3K, but I think she might just be racing this 3K now. She is deep into this race. If I'm the BYU coach, I'm saying, if I'm Jane, I'm saying, if I feel good, I'm going to keep going. And if I'm Coach Dilgy Taylor, I'm saying, why not? You're leading the elite heat of the women's 3K, and you're looking smooth. Drew Fenton says, what a beast. I agree with you, Drew. Jane Hedegren is staying in this thing. Jane Hedegren, 7 minutes into this women's 3K. Oh no, she's stepping out to lane 2. I wish she would stay in it, but she's still running. Jane is running in the outside of lane 1, but she's not stepping. Oh no, she stops. I think Coach Dilgy Taylor was trying to wave Jane to stay on the track, but Jane steps off. She could have finished this thing, right? I don't blame her for stepping off the track, but now Jane Hedegren is no longer in this race here in the women's 3K. It's going to be a battle between Solana Yildiz and Jenna Hutchins. Oregon versus BYU. 400 meters to go. Solana Yildiz turning things up. She's got that speed. Jenna Hutchins hanging in there, staying tough. This is going to be a great battle. Solana Yildiz of Oregon looking strong, but Jenna Hutchins is close behind her. This is going to come down to the final 200 meters. It's going to come down to a kick. This is going to be such a phenomenal battle. This is what we watch for. This is why we're fans of the sport. Two of the biggest names in the NCAA women's track and field are going head-to-head here. 8:09 coming through at the bell. Final lap here in the women's 3K. Solana Yildiz looking strong, but Jenna Hutchins is not letting her go. Solana Yildiz has a very strong kick. And we're seeing that now as she gains a step, starting to create a gap. Oregon Solana Yildiz flexing her speed, bringing this home into the home stretch. Jenna Hutchins is close, but she won't catch Yildiz. Solana Yildiz running 8:42 to win this thing. Jenna Hutchins in second. What an incredible battle here at the BU Valentine Invite. Wow. Drew says Hutchins all day. She was right there, but she did not take the win. It was Solana Yildiz. Talk about a kick. I mean, Solana Yildiz, less than an hour ago, her mile record in the NCAA went down, and she said, you know what? I'm taking the line in this 3K, and I'm going to win this thing. Hats off to the Oregon Ducks, Solana Yildiz. Such a strong race. What a phenomenal race. Do you guys wish Jane Hedegren stayed in there? It was like 600 to go when she left. She basically ran the whole thing. Drew says, grade the kick out of 10. Oof. You know, it was one of those kicks that both athletes were really digging. You had Solana Yildiz just kind of pulling away due to her, I think, miler speed. But Yildiz just kind of pulled away. Both athletes were running really fast. I'm grading it a 9.5 out of 10. Basically a perfect kick, but I don't like saying 10 out of 10. You know, it's she did exactly what she needed to do to run 8:42 and win. And, you know, as a Raiders fan, mantra is just win, baby. That's what she did. So it's basically a perfect kick. If it gets you the win, it's perfect. Really phenomenal race from Solana Yildiz. Love to see that from the Oregon Ducks. A historic, classic program in NCAA track and field. Let us know in the comments, who are your favorite athletes in the pro running space? Collegiate. Road running. Who are you rooting for at BU today? Who would you like to see on the kick? Which were your favorite episodes so far, and who would you like to see? Solana Yildiz is now getting interviewed on the broadcast, so I'm going to take a listen to her, and I'll report what she's saying. Solana talking about getting that sub 850 to qualify for nationals. She did that. She's really happy. She ran yesterday in the DMR, qualified for NCAAs there with her team. She's talking about how Riley Chamberlain broke her mile record in the NCAA today. And shouting out Boston University is such a fast track where records go down. Saying happy Valentine's Day to end things off. Congrats to Solana Yildiz winning the women's 3K at BU. Drew in the comments saying Foster Malik. Was that your favorite guest we've had on the kick so far, Drew? It's a pretty good episode, I must say. He's our former teammate at BU, and he's a pro runner for Under Armour now. Has a PR of 3:51 in the mile, guys. That's pretty fast. So I'd watch out for Foster. Drew says best episode. All right. I don't have a favorite or a best, but I respect that is your favorite and you think it's the best. Definitely a good one. Drew, have you listened to Damian Dilcher on the podcast? Recent episode. He's actually Foster's teammate at Under Armour on their pro team in Baltimore. That was a great episode as well. Great guy. Damian Dilcher actually is going to be racing at a different meet, Sound Running, in about 20 minutes at 5:20, I believe. So excited to see how Damian does in his mile race today. Always supporting who I like to call our Kick alumni. Guess who we've had here on the show. If you're tuned in here, we are about to get the women's 5K going here. This is going to be fast. What a stacked field. And we are off in the women's 5K. Stacked field here at the BU Valentine Invitational. What else is new? Doris of Alabama going to be taking this out pretty fast. I'm sure there's going to be a pacer who's going to slide in front of her, but she is the leader as far as the competitors in this race. Margot Appleton is in this race as well. You all know her from her time at Virginia. Time prediction, Drew says. Okay, that's interesting. What time will this be won in? Let's hear it from you all in the comments. How fast do you think the winner will run in this women's 5K here at BU? I'm going to predict 14. I'm going to predict 14:42 will be the winning time in this women's 5K at BU. I know it's bold. That's ridiculously fast. If Doris of Alabama were to do that, it would be a new NCAA record, taking down, I believe, the 14:44 that Jane Hedegren threw down on this very track just about 2 months ago. So Doris Lemgele is basically leading this thing. She's got Flockhart pacing in front of her. Flockhart won the women's 1K earlier today. Congrats to her. All right, we've got a time prediction in the chat from Drew. He says 14:46 for the winner. This should be interesting. That could be it, but it would be pretty cool if Doris were to run a little bit faster and set an NCAA record here. She's going to give it her best shot, I am sure. Do we have any other time predictions for this women's 5K in the chat? Leave a comment in the live chat if you can. You've got to be signed into a YouTube account or, like in the YouTube app to leave comments. But even if you can't, just appreciate everybody tuning in. Follow The Kick on Instagram. Subscribe here on YouTube. And please, please be sure to leave ratings and reviews wherever you listen to The Kick. 5-star reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. They do so much to help the show. All you got to do is click those 3 dots and do rating, then leave 5 stars and submit it. At least on Spotify, that's how it works. Would really appreciate it. So we've got Flockhart pacing this thing. Doris Lemgele in second, which is really first because Flockhart is pacing. I would assume she's pacing after having run the 1K earlier. Who you got in this women's 5K here at BU? I've got to go Doris. I always pick Doris. She's been one of the strongest runners in the NCAA currently and really of all time. I've had the opportunity to interview her many times when representing different running media companies at different NCAA meets and professional track meets as well. Usually my job and my duty is to interview the winner of races, and Doris wins a lot, so I've interviewed her a bunch. But such a great athlete and a great person as well. Great for the sport, as people like to say. All right, we've got 18 laps to go here on the indoor oval in this women's 5K. Doris Lemgele looking really smooth, as she usually does. Did you guys watch Doris in the Millrose Games taking that win? That was fun to watch. Lexi Holiday Lowry is in this race as well. I believe she's in 4th. The BYU grad. She's raced Doris a lot. Both Doris Lemgele and Lexi Holiday Lowry were both big-time steeplechasers. Doris still will be here in college, and Lexi will be as well, I assume, in the outdoor season. But in the NCAA, they clashed a lot, and what a difficult person to have to face meet after meet. Doris Lemgele, the all-time greatest steeplechaser in women's NCAA history. Flockhart keeping things at a very consistent pace, running around 36 seconds per lap. BU has pace lights now on the rail, which is new. That did not exist while I was an athlete at BU, but pretty cool to see that innovation at the BU Track and Tennis Center. Fastest indoor track in the world. Makes sense that we would get some pace lights. Shannon Flockhart is going to step off the track now. Her pacing duties are done, and now Lemon Goulet has nothing but track in front of her. Flockhart brought this thing through on pace for right around 14:40, I think. So this thing is fast. Doris Lemon Goulet is running in lane 2 now. Please don't step off, Doris. Hope she's okay. I think she just wants somebody to pass her. She lets somebody pass her. And now she is following Lexi Holiday Lowry. Really interesting development going on here. I'm wondering if Doris is more just concerned about running the NCAA qualifying time, which I guess maybe she doesn't have yet this season for the 5K. But she slowed down tremendously, stepped into lane 2, and let Lexi Holiday Lowry pass her. So that makes me think that she is not going after an NCAA record here. And I think just wants to have somebody in front of her to carry her to a NCAA qualifier. That could be it. Lexi Holiday is now leading this thing, with Doris just content to stay behind her here. I mean, I have a feeling that if it comes down to a kick, Doris will try to kick and win. You know, why not? But it doesn't seem like she's concerned about keeping the pace super fast. But, I mean, the pace is fast. Lexi Holiday is not letting this thing slow down. Doris just had no interest in pushing it any faster on her own. Doesn't want to lead. Very respectable tactic. Leading 25 laps indoors is no easy feat, and she is kind of drafting behind Lexi Holiday now. Now on the broadcast, they're interviewing Jane Hedegren and Riley Chamberlain, so it's kind of hard to see what's going on the track right now. They're asking Jane about how she paced so much of the 3K. The BYU athletes are in good spirits. All right, we can see the track here. Lexi Holiday is still leading this women's 5K with Doris Lemon Goulet close behind. 10 laps to go here. 8:49 on the clock. What do we think they are going to run? Who do we think is going to win? It does feel like Doris Lemon Goulet is kind of just sitting and preparing to kick to win this thing over Lexi Holiday. Doris Lemon Goulet looking smooth and very content to just sit in second here. I mean, you know, there's technically no reason why Doris should have to lead this thing, you know, although she is the favorite. Now, the Alabama coach is visibly yelling at Doris. I feel like that might mean he's saying, like, all right, like, we can go now. We can make this pass. He seemed very animated on that last turn. But Doris still sitting in second. I wonder if she has an instruction of when to make a move to take the lead at a certain, you know, point in the race. There's 8 laps to go now. So mile to go. Mile to go, Doris is passing. Her Alabama coach giving her the go-ahead, giving her the instructions to make the pass. And now Doris Lemon Goulet has nothing but track in front of her and runners who she will be soon lapping. Doris Lemon Goulet taking the lead at a mile to go. Lexi Holiday leaving Lexi in the dust here. Lexi still staying super strong and running ridiculously fast, but this is Doris Lemongalet's race. Now 7 laps to go. Clock says 10:37. What will she run? Will she set an NCAA record? 14:44 is the NCAA record set right here at BU by Jane Hedegren just 2 months ago. Doris Lemongalet is turning things up now. Her coach said it's time to go with a mile left, and she is going. Doris Lemongalet all alone now, and she is running super smooth. One of the best runners in NCAA history, Doris Lemongalet, coming through with just 6 laps to go. 11:11 on the clock. Some may say that is lucky. Alabama coach really getting into this thing, encouraging Doris to go, go, go. Doris all alone. How difficult is it to stay on record pace when you're all alone? Doris is experiencing that right now. She spent the middle portions of the race drafting behind Lexi Holiday. And with a mile to go, she has just exploded. 5 laps to go now. Doris all alone, clicking away 36-second laps. Doris really trying to turn this thing up with just 1K to go. Guys, if you can leave a comment in the chat right now, I'd love to hear. Do you think Doris Lemongalet will set an NCAA record? Will she run faster than Jane Hedegren's 14:44? I can tell you that she looks smooth right now, but you can see the hurt on her face. You can see how difficult this pace is to keep, but she is keeping it. 36 seconds for that lap, and she's got 800 meters to go now. 12:26 was her split with 800 to go. Lexi Holiday is, I guess you could say, still in this thing. She's about 5 seconds behind. If Doris were to really fade, Lexi could potentially win this thing. But this is really Doris Lemongalet's race at this point. With 3 laps to go. 13:02 on the clock with just 600 meters remaining. We are witnessing something very special, and we very well may be witnessing history here. Let me hear from you in the comments. Do you think Doris Lemongalet is going to set an NCAA record? Will she run faster than 14:44? She's clearly going for it. Her coach is clearly convinced that his athlete can do this thing. Doris Lemongalet coming up on 400 meters to go. 13:39 on the clock. She can do this. Doris Lemongalet with less than 400 meters left. Drew in the chat says, "Come on, Doris. Roll Tide." Doris Lemongalet battling so tough here. You can see how difficult this is. She's smooth, but she is tired, and you can tell as she approaches the bell lap here. 14:16 with a lap to go. Doris Lemongalet has a chance at the NCAA record. Her coach cheering her on. She looks smooth, but she looks tired. Does not seem like she's going to be able to really pick up this pace. But she is still running so fast. Doesn't look like she's going to be able to pick things up to take an NCAA record. But what an incredible run here by Doris Lemongalet. She's going to be well under 15 minutes. Alabama's Doris Lemongalet runs 14:51 here at BU at the Valentine Invite. Congrats to Doris. With a mile to go, Doris just turned on the burners and ran all alone for that final mile. Roll Tide. Just a few years ago, this 14:51 effort from Doris Lemongalet of Alabama would have been an NCAA record. It just goes to show how quickly times can change and how we can think, oh, 14:51, that's good. No, that is great. That is phenomenal. Doris is one of the greatest NCAA athletes, period. Doris Lemon-Goulet is spent. I mean, she is so tired. She does not look thrilled with this result. You know, she won, but clearly there were some time goals on the table that she fell a little short of. But I hope that her teammates and coaches and supporters all let her know, Doris, you did great. Lemon-Goulet avoided running on her own for the whole race. She allowed Lexi Holiday to take the pace for a little bit. Could that have been the difference in her being able to maybe go after an NCAA record? Because Doris did visibly slow down, step out into lane 2, and allow Lexi Holiday to take over. Doris kind of put all her faith in her final 8 laps, that final mile, to just be able to make it happen. But that was a big ask. Congrats to Doris. Here at the David Hemery Valentine Invitational, we have witnessed yet again a series of phenomenal performances. Congratulations to all the athletes. We are going to stick around here on the live stream to keep chatting track and field. There are some more races coming up that we will definitely take a peek at, but the elite section of this meet is now in the books. Let's look at those 5K results. Doris Lemon-Goulet, 14:51. Carissa Schweizer was second, and they have now removed the results from the screen because it is time for the rest of the 3K heats here today. So this is heat 1 of the women's 3K now. We already saw the technically heat 1, the elite heat of the women's 3K about an hour ago, or less than an hour ago, maybe half hour ago. But there are a lot of elite women in this heat of the women's 3K, so let's see how they'll do. You know, you've still got elite runners in these heats, and you've got pace setters setting some really fast paces to allow these athletes to run PRs and really run some fast times here at BU. Let's hear from you in the live chat. What did you guys think of the elite section of the Women's Day here at the BU Valentine Invite? I thought it was pretty electric, and we've still got a lot of incredible runners taking the track, so we will stick around here and continue to react live and provide the best commentating we can. All right, let's hear from y'all in the live chat if you're tuned in. We have wrapped up the elite section of these races, but Doris Lemon-Goulet is now being interviewed live on the broadcast. Let's hear from you in the live chat. We finished technically the elite races here at the BU Valentine, but really every race is elite, if we're being honest. So we've got a series of heats of the women's 3K now with some phenomenal runners, and we are going to be commentating as soon as we get back to the action. They are interviewing Doris here on the broadcast right now. Doris with a big smile. She says it is what it is. She wanted to get that NCAA record. Shouting out her coach, saying he's amazing. Doris says her coach said, trust yourself every lap. And she did trust herself going into that last mile. She took things over and went for it. And Doris ends things off with a roll tide. Love that. Always love when Doris gives her roll tide. We've got an LSU athlete leading this heat of the women's 3K now. Chep Kamoy of LSU. Kemboy in second. In the chat, do you have anybody in this heat of the women's 3K? We're technically at section 1 of the women's 3K right now. Is there anybody you're rooting for? Anybody who would love to hear how they're doing? And I can hone in on commentating in that way. We've had a couple requests so far in this live stream, and I've been happy to report back what's going on with everybody's athletes that they are cheering on today. And we can just talk running. We can talk the kick. Happy to just be here on this live stream. The Kick a Runners podcast is available on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, as well as some other platforms, iHeart, Amazon Music. So feel free to give us a like, give us a subscribe. It's all free. Leave a rating and review. Follow along with the podcast. Let me know what you think of the episodes. Drew is commenting in the live chat. He says, did you think Langen should have gotten DQ'd yesterday? This is a really interesting conversation. I'd love to hear what people's thoughts are. Marco Langen won the men's 3K yesterday, and it was a bit of a controversial finish. He falls at the line. There is an argument to be made that he impedes Colton Sands, the UNC runner's line of running, I guess, but I don't really know the rules well enough to make any decision on that. I don't want to, go against what the officials said. I like to trust the officials, but if you watch that back, it's tough. It does look like Langen really does kind of cut Colton Sands off and fall kind of in his way, but it's close. It's not like the most blatant thing you've ever seen, and a lot of people are saying that it's really blatant. I don't think it's as blatant as people are saying. I think there's a lot of people who are preying on Marco's downfall and want to see him lose, want to see him get DQ'd. I'm not one of those people, so it's tough to evaluate. I would say, if I'm being totally honest, I think the officials might have thought about it and chose to not DQ him because that was an NCAA qualifier for him in the 3K. Marco ran the qualifying time at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix for the 3K for NCAAs, and then they didn't count it because there weren't enough collegiate runners in that race. So then he had to get it again at the Valentine meet. If they were to DQ him, he still wouldn't have the qualifier for NCAAs. I feel like they were let's just let him have the qualifier. This isn't a championship race. Place is important, but it's not the end-all, be-all. I think if it were a national championship, Langen would have been DQ'd. I'll say that. But because it was, the BU Valentine Invitational, times are a little bit more the goal at these invites rather than placement. Placement is still really important, practicing those tactics. And also, if you're to win at the Valentine invite, that's like an accomplishment that is basically like a championship because of how competitive the meet is. Drew says, agreed, good call. Happy you agree, Drew. I think, it's tough. It's one of those things you would have rather Marco not do that and just kind of run in his straight line and Colton run in his and just see who's the faster runner at the end. And Colton did have a lot of momentum there, so would have been interesting. But at the end of the day, you know what? Marco got the dub. And we'll see. I think at NCAAs, Marco needs to not do something like that. And I think if he were to do it might lead to him getting DQ'd. But Marco, he's talked about it all year. He just wants to win in March. He just wants that NCAA title. And really exciting to see him go after it. That's a Jersey guy. Got to support my Jersey guys. But a lot of great athletes are going to be competing for that title. All right. So we are section 1 of 11 here in the women's 3K. And they are coming up on a lap to go. So let's hone in on this competition here. We've got an athlete from Georgetown looking strong here going into the bell lap. A lot of women in this race, though. You know what? I thought that was Georgetown. I think it is Georgetown, yeah. That's Atkinson from Georgetown, but she is going to be passed. Joyce Kemboy goes to the front. She looks like she's got a strong kick. But Hennessy, a high schooler, is coming out of nowhere here into the home stretch, and she's going to win this heat of the women's 3K. Abby Hennessy wins in 9:02. What a kick. That's a high schooler, everybody. A high schooler. Wow. Really strong race, mixing it up with, elite runners, mostly collegiate runners, some pros. And Hennessy, the high schooler, comes in and takes the win in the fastest non-elite heat of the women's 3K. Abigail Hennessy, running unattached as a high schooler here, winning the 3K at BU in her heat 1 of 11. 9:02 is the time. I think there's going to be some colleges hitting her line, trying to recruit her now because, my goodness, what a strong effort. What a great win, to have that kind of savviness in that final lap. It's not easy to do, and as a high schooler, mixing it up with these older women, really impressive. All right, we've got another heat of the women's 3K coming up here. If you're tuning in and you've got a specific race that you want to know about, a particular athlete, let me know in the comments. Leave a comment in the live chat. If you don't know how to do that, I don't really know how to explain it, but you do need like a YouTube account or, be in the YouTube app and just go to the live chat and leave a comment. I know there's some people who are hopping in this live stream hoping to watch a particular athlete or just watch these races. I can't legally show the broadcast live stream. FlowTrack owns that. But what I can do is I can watch it myself and provide the best commentary possible to let you know what's going on and bring that energy. I do feel like I have some credibility as a former BU athlete myself, recent graduate of the track and cross country team, ran there for 5 years. I know this track pretty well, and I love our home meets. All right, we are underway here in the second heat of the women's 3K here. Do you have any athletes that you are supporting in these heats of the women's 3K? Let me know. And we've got Stegel, who is pacing this thing. She was one of the top athletes earlier, I believe in the mile or 3K, but now she's back on pacing duties. Good for her. Want to shout out our top commenter so far today. It is going to be Drew Fenton, has the most comments in the live chat today. Thank you, Drew, for your support. Really appreciate you tuning in and participating in the live chat. Yesterday we had 75 live comments in the chat total at the end of the men's competition. That was pretty good. I think a goal of 100 would be pretty cool to achieve. So let's see if we can keep this live chat active. Makes the live stream a lot more fun. I will engage with all comments that are appropriate. All right. We've got the women's 3K Heat 2 on the track here. A lot of runners out in lane 2 here. It's, it's tempting to try to improve your position, but you do want to stay on the rail, especially in a 3K and 5K. The mile, the 800, you only have so much time to make your moves, but you want to try to get on the inside and not run that extra distance. So hopefully these athletes are able to do that soon. Do you have any athletes you're watching in this heat of the women's 3K? We're on heat 2 of 11 here. Or anybody remaining in the rest of the meet would love to let you know how they're doing if you're not able to be there in person, or if you're not able to or want to pay the FlowTrack subscription. We're here on the kick to give you that good commentary. What do you guys think of the results today at the women's elite sections of the 800-mile 5K and 3K? Doris Lemongole with a great effort in that 5K, taking the win. A lot of great competitors here at the BU Valentine Invite. Now we've got Dayla Gunton of Iona making a strong move to the front in heat 2 of the 3K here. It's going to be a battle. A lot of athletes in the mix here. Would love to hear from you in the live chat if you were able to comment. If you're not logged into a YouTube account, you probably won't be able to leave a live chat, but we still appreciate you tuning in here on the kick. But, you know, it's never too late to make a YouTube account. It's free. And you can subscribe to the kick here, which will be a treat for you, I'm sure. All right, we are getting into the later laps here of this heat 2 of the women's 3K. So we are going to start commentating a little more actively as things start to heat up. Texas A&M athlete is moving up, now into third. Gunton leading the race. Gunton, 6:10. 5 laps to go. Now Ellis is in the lead. 4 laps to go. All right, let's see how this final 800 goes down in the heat 2 of the women's 3K. Coming up on 3 laps to go. Let's see. 7:22 with 3 laps to go. We've got Gunton in the lead, Ellis in second, Strauss in third. if you've got any questions about what's going on here at the BU Valentine meet, I'm watching it here. I can let you know what's going down. Let me know in the live chat. Have you listened to any episodes of The Kick? Are there any guests you'd love to see on the show? Maybe we can make it happen. You can listen to The Kick or Runners podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeart. Leave us a rating and review. It goes a long way. All right, less than 300 meters to go here in Section 2 of the women's 3K. Basically, two athletes in the mix for the win here. We've got Ellis and Strauss. Bell lap, 8:33 on the clock. It's going to be a low 9-minute performance here. Will it be Ellis or will it be Strauss? What a battle. Strauss making a move, representing UConn. And she is going to take this thing. Really strong kick here. And she is going to win this thing. Strauss going to win in 9:07. Strauss of UConn representing the Huskies well. Winning Heat 2 of the women's 3K. Ellis finishes second. Just a couple seconds behind. If you're able to comment in the live chat, please do. Let me know if there is an athlete that you want to hear about here at the BU Valentine Invitational. We're about to start Heat 3 of the women's 3K, but first let's recap Heat 2. Brooke Strauss of UConn placing first, 9:07. Then you had Sky Ellis in 9:09, representing Northwestern. Really strong finish for her. And Heat 3 is going to get started now. So Heat 3 is on the track. And we've got a few Duke runners representing the Blue Devils on the track here. I think I'm counting 5 Duke Blue Devils on the track here. So I guess chances are higher than other schools that we'll see a Blue Devil win this one. Heat 3 of the women's 3K here at the BU Valentine Invite. One of these Duke athletes was in the mile earlier and ran a 4:31, so I'm thinking she might be pacing her Blue Devil teammates here. And, we're off in these early laps of another 3K heat here for the women. As you know, these races, when you're in them, they are tough. But when you're watching, you can think, oh, they're just running along here and these laps are a little bit boring. But as much as these athletes are trying to show that they are smooth and run in that kind of cadence of being very relaxed, it is very, very difficult, and they are experiencing a whole lot of hurt. But their training has them ready. So a pack of Duke Blue Devils in this race. Have you guys been checking in on the results across the country today? A lot of big meets, sound running. Of course, here at the BU Valentine Invite, lots of huge performances have gone down. And hopefully a lot of PRs for the athletes around the world. This meet is a worldwide meet. We've got schools from around the country, and a lot of those athletes from those schools are international. We've even got professional runners in the mix. We've got Division I, Division II, Division III of the NCAA. Every once in a while, you get a high school runner entering unattached. And we saw one of those high school athletes win a heat of the 3K just a few moments ago. Well, we are going to start wrapping up this live stream shortly if there aren't any more live chats. Again, we were on live here for the elite section of the Women's BU Valentine Invitational. It was a great time. We saw some phenomenal performances. Figured we'd stick around even a little longer as long as there were people tuning in and interested in the action going on the BU track. But these heats will be going on for some hours now, as we've got the 3Ks going now in long distance events. We'll round out the night here at the BU Valentine Invitational. But feel free to leave a live chat if there is anything in relation to this BU Valentine meet or track and field at large across the country and around the world. Here at The Kick, we have a podcast that's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeart. Feel free to follow the podcast. Leave a rating and review if you enjoy. And follow us on Instagram too. Lots of clips from the podcasts are available on Instagram, as well as some great quotes and just overall coverage of what's going on with The Kick. Let me know in the comments, how did you find this podcast? How did you find this live stream? Were you already a follower of The Kick? Or are you a new member of the Kick family? We have reached 200 total views on this live stream, which is pretty cool. Topped the numbers we reached yesterday, so thank you for everybody for tuning in, even if it was just for a little while. Mile to go here in this third section of the women's 3K. 2 athletes have separated themselves from the rest of the field. Are you tuning in for this heat in particular? Is there an athlete in Heat 3 of the women's 3K that you are here to hear about? Let me know. If so, I'll be sure to shout them out, let you know how they're doing. We have been live for almost 2 hours now. This live stream was focused on the elite section of the women's events here at the BU Valentine Invitational. We saw some electric races in the 800 mile, 3K, and 5K. And now we are rounding out the night with the rest of the distance heats. And as a former BU athlete, I know this is a very long stretch of races. So I won't be live for all of them, but if there is an athlete that you are looking to hear about in particular, please let me know as soon as possible so that I can shout them out and let you know how they're doing. If you're unsure how to use the live chat feature here on YouTube, you generally will need either the YouTube app or at least be signed in to a YouTube account. So if you have like a Google account, that should work. But I know it can be frustrating for some people who have tuned in and are unable to participate in live chat. But I highly recommend getting the YouTube app or making an account so that you can subscribe to your favorite channels, and hopefully one of those channels is here at The Kick. So we've got one runner who has run away with this here, a Northwestern athlete. And she's on pace to run 9:15, which is a super strong 3K time here. Northwestern athlete. More familiar with Northeastern in these Boston parts. But this is a Northwestern athlete who is just taking Heat 3 by storm. And we've got some Duke Blue Devils moving up here. Like I said at the start of this heat, 5 Blue Devils in this race, and now one of them has moved into second. It does not look like anybody will catch the leader here, though. Let's get her name here. It's the Northwestern athlete here in Heat 3. Let's see here. About to see her name come up. And it is... Nope. Jackie Holman of Northwestern in the lead here with 3 laps to go. Doesn't look like she'll be caught. Wow. I think she might run even faster than 9:15. She seems to be turning things up. Not easy to do when you're all alone, but Jackie Holman is determined right now. Holman with 2 laps to go. Holman at 8:02 with 2 laps to go. I think she could get a sub 9:15 mark right here. Anybody here in the live chat here for Jackie Holman of Northwestern? If so, I have good news. She is absolutely dominating Heat 3 of the women's 3K. Okay, there's a Duke Blue Devil who is gaining ground here on Jackie Holman of Northwestern, and she might have a chance to kick and win this thing. Jackie Holman of Northwestern has led lap after lap, but now Stephanie Moss of Duke takes over. Talk about a kick. Stephanie Moss coming out of nowhere, representing the Duke Blue Devils, and now she is going to win this thing with certainty as she is kicking into the home stretch. Jackie Holman remaining tough behind, but this is the Duke Blue Devils race here, and she is going to run a 9:12. What a phenomenal race for the Blue Devil. Wow. That race was all Jackie Holman, but Stephanie Moss steps up, kicks hard, and gets the win. Really phenomenal stuff. Stephanie Moss. That's the 4th fastest time in Duke Blue Devil history on the women's side, running 9:12. And, we have some phenomenal Duke athletes over the years. Amina Matug, I believe, has the school record for Duke in the women's 3K. We all know what an incredible career she had in the NCAA and now as a pro. Wow. Incredible race there. Heat 3 of the women's 3K. Really did not disappoint. Strong kick. Really fast time. 1 in 9:12. Imagine Heat 3 being 1 in 9:12 only at BU. And technically that's Heat 4 because the elite section is not factored into that as one of the heats. So it's technically like Heat 4. All right, and with that, we are going to wrap things up here on the live stream. Just under 2 hours here. If there are any remaining live chats, things you want to hear about, any questions you have, anything you want to say in the live chat, would love to hear it. Really appreciate everybody for tuning in. This sets a new record for the kick with most people tuning in to the live stream yet. It is the only second day that we've ever gone live, but yesterday was really fun, and today was no different. We had more than 200 people tune in throughout this live stream. We had multiple commenters chiming in the live chat. Really appreciate that. Really enhances the experience for both you, the audience, and me as the host. As of right now, we have 207 total viewers throughout this live stream, and that is something I'm very thankful for all of you for joining. Boston University BU Valentine Invitational never disappoints. 2026 was no different in the elite sections of both the men's races and the women's races. Phenomenal meet, phenomenal performances, no surprises there. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Leave a comment. Head to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, and be sure to follow along with the kick. We've got a bunch of great episodes up on there and more on the way. Leave a rating and review. 5 stars goes a long way. Really appreciate everybody. And we are going to check out, as always, I'm Will Loggia, host of The Kick. Love running, love a good kick. I appreciate you all for tuning in.